Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. This is Sigil Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to get formal, it's Miss Jennifer Frederick, another edition of We Talk the Ting Unfiltered. People, today is Tuesday, just now it's Christmas. Just now it's year, time and tide, New Year. Time and tide waits on no one, but I do wait on my peeps. However, we have business to discuss. So let me start it right one time. And we need to understand that we are an independent country since 1962. We gained our independence. Then we became a Republican state, I think in 1976, I'm not mistaken. So we are a sovereign country. And these things are part of that whole exercise: a national anthem, watchwords, pledge.
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I will honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, and my elders, and those in authority. I will be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. I will strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country.
And of course, we must have some history or some really good news as a part of our show. And today is no different. So
China and Japan had black kings and dark-skinned black women queens. This is what they didn't tell you in school. Before they bleached the bloodline in the Meiji dynasty, you had the Kuro, the black kings. Yeah, look it up. Kuro means black, means king. Same word they use now for black paint. It used to mean us. Back then, ever heard of the Jomon, the people with thick hair, dark skin, and broad faces? Very broad nose. Those are from the original islanders, y'all. Every archaeologist worth their student loans knows it, but they don't want to admit it. The bones don't lie, but the university paychecks do. Now, the Tohoku dynasty, they literally found Afro-textured hair impressions in ancient pottery. Yes, receipts, literally. Then you had the Satsuma and Ryukyu noble dynasty. This is Black AF history. It goes into all of these things, the things they did not teach you in school, what they lied to you about. This talks about it. Now, these people traded with Africa and with Indonesia, and before Europe could even spell ship, you want sources, look at Portuguese travel logs from the 1500s, you guys. That's what this book talks about. That's why it's so important. They describe the rulers as brown and tattooed like Moors. They describe the rulers as brown and tattooed. And don't get me started on the black Buddhist monks. Coming from Sri Lanka and India, they're the ones who taught martial arts, y'all, before Bruce Lee became the master. Yes, they were pale, bald in Kung Fu movies, but they had white skin that was, basically brightened and lightened by Hollywood and made to look like they were lighter than they were. And that's why skin bleaching and skin lightening is so big there, because of the racism, systemically, the racism in that area is insane, and it all goes back to white supremacy. The Moorish monarchs who ran the Silk Road before silk even had a price tag. Like, there's so much here. Grab it.
Yeah. People know your history is important. I'm sure some of you may not have known that. Let me continue.
Even though you probably have no idea what dry cleaning actually is, you should know that an African-American man named Thomas L. Jennings invented dry cleaning in 1821. Mr. Jennings was also the first African-American in the United States to receive a patent for his dry scouring invention, which is now called dry cleaning. But that's just like the most unbelievably cool thing I've ever heard. To make things even better, he became a very involved civil rights activist and was one of the first leaders for the cause of abolitionism. I mean, this guy is an inspiration. I can only hope to have a tiny fraction of the achievements that he achieved in his life. But yeah, Thomas L. Jennings, African-American patenter and dry cleaning inventor, amazing dude, and you should really read more about him. He had an amazing life.
Yeah. So every time you go to dry clean your clothes, in the Chinese laundry, remember, it was an African man who created that. And not only that, when you go in a Chinese laundry, remember that we are all also out there. And we were the black Chinese too. So when I see with the chinky eye and the big round flat face like mine, just know that it's part of the heritage, okay? Let me continue.
A Native American is a person who is indigenous to North, Central, and South America, including the Caribbean islands and Greenland. These are the original peoples of the Americas, those whose ancestors inhabited these lands long before European colonization and the transatlantic slave trade.
In Canada, we are referred to as First Nations, Inuit, or Métis, collectively known as Aboriginal Canadians or Indigenous peoples. In Canada, each group has distinct languages, cultures, and histories that have endured despite centuries of colonial pressure.
In the United States, we are commonly known as American Indians, Native Americans, or simply Indians.
These terms are often used interchangeably, although many individuals prefer to identify by their specific tribal nation.
In Mexico, we are called indígenas, which means indigenous people.
We are also called pueblos originarios, which means original peoples.
And sometimes indios, although the latter can carry colonial or pejorative connotations depending on context.
Throughout Central America, similar terms are used, indígenas being the most widespread.
Countries such as Guatemala, Honduras, and Panama recognize multiple indigenous nations,
like the Quiche, Garifuna, Lenca, and Guna, each with their own ancestral territories, spiritual systems, and social structures.
In South America, indigenous peoples are known by many names, depending on the region.
In the Andes, terms like Quechua and Aymara refer to specific ethnic groups with ancient empires and traditions. In the Amazon, names like Yanomami, Shuar, and Ashaninka represent forest-based nations whose ways of life remain closely tied to nature.
On the Caribbean islands, indigenous populations such as the Taino, Arawak, and Carib were among the first to encounter European colonizers. Colonization devastated many of these communities. Descendants still exist in places like Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, preserving traditions and reasserting their identity.
Despite being spread across 2 continents and countless ecosystems, Native Americans share common experiences.
Colonial invasion, forced assimilation, land dispossession, resistance, resilience, and cultural survival. And yet, a dangerous myth persists that indigenous people are no longer here, or that everyone is now mixed beyond recognition. This narrative is not only false, but harmful. It erases the continued existence of pure and sovereign indigenous communities across the Americas.
From the Tarahumara highlands of Mexico to the Quechua villages of the Andes.
From the untouched forests of the Amazon to the remote Dene and Inuit lands of the north.
There are countless indigenous nations living with their languages, customs, and bloodlines intact.
Many of these communities live in isolation by choice, resisting assimilation, and maintaining deep spiritual and ecological relationships with their ancestral territories.
In countries like Bolivia, Guatemala, and Peru, millions of indigenous people speak their native languages as a first tongue.
Entire municipalities and regions are governed by indigenous customs and laws.
To say everyone is mixed is to ignore the very real presence of people who have preserved their heritage.
We are not extinct.
We are not relics. We are not myths or symbols in a textbook. We are nations. We are languages. We are ceremonies. We are families. We are protectors of the land. We are survivors. We are the first and the forever people of the Americas. To be Native American is not only to descend from the first inhabitants of this continent, it is to live in defiance of erasure. It is to carry the flame of memory forward, knowing that we are the living continuation of our ancestors.
Yeah. So when you see me with my moles all over, my neck, my face, all that is also part of my heritage, the Garifuna people of St. Vincent. Know your history, understand your history. I saw this young lady here, and let me add her to the stage. 17-year-old Khalifa Joseph turning cents into dollars. And this is about, I'm opening it now. Yeah, just give me a minute. I thought it was interesting, especially when I saw her age. It was in the Daily Express, December the 13th. And it says here, when your teachers become loyal customers, you know you're doing something right. That's the case of 17-year-old Khalifa Joseph, whose handmade candles and body butter from the candle shop have earned a devoted following. Her Spanish teacher, Miss Ransom, was especially impressed, prophesying that she would go very far in life. He admired that I started my entrepreneurship early, says a sixth form government school student. That encouraged me a lot and made me more confident in what I'm doing. Sense to captivate. This Christmas, Joseph's holiday candles collection has stolen the spotlight. It features 6 scents, each captivating or capturing a different slice of the season. Christmas morning, warm, inviting spices that feel like waking up on Christmas morning. Apple cinnamon, dessert-like, similar to fresh treats cooling on the kitchen counter. Holiday cheer, crisp December air with subtle fruity freshness. Balsam fir, a pine front scent of a just cut Christmas tree. Gingerbread cookie, softer and sweeter with light vanilla tones. Ginger and spice, the undisputed bestseller, which customers say fills the room in minutes and smells exactly like Christmas. Joseph's signature whipped body butters, made from pure shea butter and body oils infused with jojoba and avocado, plus a touch of shimmer, are also becoming essentials. Her magazine can confirm that salted caramel and bombshell body butter in particular stands out, unlike their traditional counterparts that sit heavily or fade fast. They melt effortlessly, moisturizing deeply without a greasy layer. She said, I choose every ingredient carefully to make sure they are safe, gentle, and effective because I want my products to feel good on the skin while also being good for the skin. Though the brand's success feels polished, Joseph didn't plan to start a business. She simply didn't like the natural scent of the hard shea butter her mom used to use in her spa. On a whim, she asked her to add a little caramel fragrance oil to see how it will turn out. It was an instant hit. When she wore it to school, everybody wanted to know why I smelled so good and how they could buy it, she recalls. That curiosity pushed her into research and experimenting with textures. Joseph learned how to whip butter into something soft, airy, and luxurious. Candle making arrived later, first as a hobby Joseph shared with her mom, then as a serious addition when their early batches of products matched the quality of major brands. The K in the candle store she explained, represents both of them, Khalifa and Karina, reflecting their partnership behind the craft started in January. Once we made the first set, we realized that the candles smelled amazing, so we began selling them too, says Joseph. Products is hand-on or hands-on and intricate. For body butters and oils, I measure and melt the natural ingredients, then allow them to cool to the perfect temperature before whipping them. Body butters like the longest melting, cooling, whipping, and testing. Body butters takes the longest. It's melting, cooling, whipping, and testing until the consistency is perfect, often running late into the night. Candles made from soy wax instead of harsher paraffin waxes that releases toxin when burned requires their own routine, temperature control, fragrance blending, and curing time. Packaged is detailed. Every label is placed by hand because consistency matters as much as creativity, especially in a crowded market. For Joseph, the candle shop isn't just a teenage phrase she'll leave behind. She wants to be a pediatrician and hopes to grow the brand alongside her medical career. She envisions a full line of genuinely safe, natural baby products, creams, gentle skin and congestion relief candles made with all the questionable ingredients found in some big brand alternatives. Most baby products contain chemicals that aren't openly harmful, she explained, but they aren't the safest long term. By blending rigorous science with her governing entrepreneurial drive, Joseph is turning a teenage venture into a brand with real purpose. So that would be candles, the candle shop. The candle is spelled Kandle shop. So please look for it on Facebook, look for it on Twitter, look for it on Instagram, and do give this young entrepreneur, 17 years old, very intelligent, and has to be really, has a love for science and chemistry to be making these sense. And I'm sure she would have gotten what she said that by from her mom, so good parenting again. And she also wants to continue to be a pediatrician while making her products safe for babies also. So don't forget her. It's the candy. It's the candle. Just let me get it. I do not want to miss. I do not want to. The candle shop, candle spelled with Kandle. Yes, so good going there, Miss Khalifa. So let me continue. Excuse me. Just a little sad news and some nostalgia at the same time. Today was the funeral of Mr. Freddie Ferreira, the stalwart. He was the stalwart of the People's National Movement, some saying walking encyclopedia. He was there with Dr. Eric Williams during the formation of the People's National Movement. He had a lot of historical insights and he would have written several books. So his memory would live on through his books and through his leaving that knowledge for us, especially peoples of the PNM and the country at heart, international, local, about the inception of the PNM, what the PNM meant, and things of that nature. So just a little glimpse of it here. Yeah. So a lot of PNM persons were there. I see my member of parliament, the political leader of the PNM. I saw Dominic Roman, MP Dominic Roman. I saw, I think, the mayor. I saw Mr. Ashton Ford, I think, if not the first general secretary, but one of the general secretaries, former of the People's National Movement. I saw Marvin Gonzalez, the chief whip and member of parliament for Aruka Lupino, I think it is, and there are so many others who were there paying their tribute. So that was just a little sight. And let us not also forget this gone too soon. And I speak of former MP Lisa Morris Julia, and I think today it is a year since a tragic passing with two of her children. So let us also remember this.
Like a rainbow fading in the twinkling of an eye, gone too soon.
Yeah, I remember I did that and people loved it, and it brought tears to people's eyes, even my eyes. And just watching it there, it just sent me back in that zone. Yeah, so that's just a little of that gone but not forgotten. Yeah. So in this country, recently we had the passing of the Stand Your Ground, where some people are fascinated and everybody having guns to protect themselves. I'm not against anybody trying to protect themselves, because you should. If people are invading your homes to do you harm and all that, you must have the opportunity to defend yourself if you can against that. But as I would say again ad nauseum, as far as I understand from reading and stuff, we already have a home invasion or self-defense law. And when you look at what the UNC has gotten passed, the only difference in that this Stand Your Ground, what I'm seeing here, is that there are about 6 or 7 areas where the judge now has to determine when you say you stood your ground and you kill somebody, if it met those thresholds. So, as everybody else, and I was asking also, why couldn't they just strengthen the laws that we already had, because it will come to really about enforcement of the law. Why we didn't just strengthen that? Because what comes also with Stand Your Ground laws is the racial component. And research has shown that the persons who are most vulnerable and are killed by Stand Your Ground laws, especially in America, where the UNC would have fashioned this from Florida, that is persons of African descent, Black people. And if it were to turn around and a Black person would have defended themselves or stood their ground against a white person, the chances are that they will still be charged for murder, whereas if it's a white person did it, they got off. So in this country here, we may not have a large society of persons who are Caucasian, but we have a large percentage of people who are of Indian descent. And we have already heard one of the esteemed pundits already sent out the signal that is African youths along the East-West corridor. He said urban youths, but who is the urban youths in the East-West corridor who are targeting Indians in Aranguez and San Juan and environments without any data to support that? The police have no data to suggest that. And even one resident who was there, I think a Muslim, who was telling them, no, well, basically telling me, no, that is not true. He continued what he is saying. And so he made different posts and basically saying the same thing. And he spoke about things like that, education and being had nothing and that kind of thing. So that is putting a kind of image in people's mind. They love to put the face of crime as the Black angry face. But if you listen to Dr. David Muhammad, he would tell you when drugs and men like the Fruit King and Naya and this one, that one, when they was running the route, it wasn't African people, but had African people working for them. But when they didn't get help, because based on things David Muhammad said, because they were able to pay lawyers and this and that one, but the Black man who was working for them didn't have that type of money. So when it's time to make jail was the Black man. And then I could go further than the pundit, where Hulsi Bagan was a UNC member of parliament, would have come out with a nasty, that is not even nasty, that is a dangerous, racist lie that said that African men were raping Indian women and she encouraged her constituents to form vigilante groups to exterminate Black people. So I'm putting all this in the context to show people trying to defend their home if they had that kind of thinking, especially people of Indian descent, that African people targeting them and coming to get them, they may get itchy fingers and this thing could go horribly wrong. So let us be careful about the things that we want happening in this country and that we wishing for in this country, that it will turn around to bite you in your butt. And then you have to be saying you want them to repeal it because you didn't think it would be like this. Why did I rehash this? For the simple reason. Let me just wait. This was December the 15th, CNC3 News. Australia to tighten gun laws after Bondi Beach Hanukkah massacre. Australian federal and state government leaders on Monday agreed to immediately overhaul already tough national gun control laws after a mass shooting targeted a Hanukkah celebration on Sydney's Bondi Beach, leaving at least 15 people dead. The action would include renegotiating the landmark National Firearms Agreement that virtually banned rapid fire rifles after a lone gunman killed 35 people in Tasmania in 1996, galvanizing the country into action, the 9 leaders said in a statement after an emergency meeting. The violence erupted at the end of the summer day when thousands had flocked to Bondi Beach, an icon of Australia's cultural life. They included hundreds gathered for the Chanukah by the Sea event celebrating the start of the 8-day Hanukkah festival with food, face painting, and petting zoo. At least 38 persons, including 2 police officers, were being treated in hospitals after the massacre. When the 2 suspected shooters fired on the beachfront festivities, those killed included a 10-year-old girl, a rabbi, and a Holocaust survivor. None of the dead or wounded victims have been formally named by the authorities. Identities of those killed, who range in ages from 10 to 87, began to emerge in news reports on Monday. Amongst them was Rabbi Eli Shalanger, assistant rabbi at Chabad of Bondi, and an organizer of the family Hanukkah event that was targeted. According to Chabad, an Orthodox Jewish movement that runs outreach worldwide and sponsors events during major Jewish holidays. Israel's foreign minister confirmed the death of an Israeli citizen, but gave no further details. French President Emmanuel Macron said a French citizen identified as Dan Il-Kayam was amongst those killed. Larissa Kilman, people, K-L-E-Y-T-M-A-N, okay, told reporters outside St. Vincent Hospital in Sydney that her husband, Alexander, same thing, was amongst the dead. The couple were both Holocaust survivors, according to the Australian newspaper. Oh, Lord. I wouldn't go on and on, but again, condolences to the Australian people and all those who lost their life. But while Australia is looking to tighten the gun laws here, we're looking to free it up so that people can get more guns. I'm also seeing here that in Provence, and this was December the 13th, 2025, a shooting Saturday at Bronx University in Provence, Rhode Island, left 2 people dead and at least 8 others critically injured. Authorities were still searching for a suspect in hours afterwards. The shooting occurred on a Saturday afternoon in a campus building with final exams underway. The suspect was dressed in black and left the building on foot, officials said. The violence prompted a shelter-in-place order for the larger university area. Providence Mayor Brett Smiley said, "We have all available resources to find the suspect." Sadly, today is the day that the city of Providence and the state of Rhode Island prayed will never come. Prayed will never come. So Providence and the state of Rhode Island, sadly today is a day that the city of Providence and the state of Rhode Island prayed that would never come. The mayor said, "We have heard about horrific acts of gun violence and active shooter situation in other places, but not here. Brown is a private institution with roughly 7,300 undergraduate students and more than 3,000 graduate students." Yep. And they went on to list all the other universities that these things has happened. So when you think it can't touch you, it's other people. It's always somebody else's problem, not yours. So I just wanted to read that there. Tobago. You all remember the young man who would have left the PNM when they asked him about it. He was all the time there with the PNM and they asked him, they told him they heard he was going for screening with the TPP in the upcoming election. And if he's doing that, he met himself from the WhatsApp group, all of them, and he basically put up a defense. No, it's not true. He was on update, I think Tobago update, say no, it's not true, propaganda, blah, 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 blah. Bam! You see him in a TPP meeting going up on the stage, so he's at home now, apparently, while being deceitfully, in my opinion, in the PNM chat with the PNM and operating as though you're part of the PNM, but you're with TPP. So apparently he's walking around and this is what he would have encountered. And you can't blame people for that because this is an emotional thing. And it's not like you left months ago. You just left and they actually you saying it wasn't going. So you can't blame somebody if this is the reaction that you get. Listen to this.
We have an anchor. Well, you think all you're coming here to win my boy Ansel? Well, you think they're coming here to win my boy Ansel? No way. No way. No way. No way. Waste anti-pressure. Licks. Even if it's Craig, can't stand a better chance. But that Judas, look him coming there. That Judas, that Keegan Judas. Keegan, don't call me at all. Don't call me. Don't.
Yeah. That's just Ella expressing how she feels because it's something real to people. It's not a joke. I don't know some of these people who doing these things they feel this is a joke. This is serious thing for people we living in sometimes now where it ain't no jokey thing. You have to stand up for what you believe in and stop the games. Because all you're playing with people's lives, people's emotion, people's health, everything. You all listen to Father, we have some new development here, so we finally know what it is apparently our government of Trinidad and Tobago would have given to the US, what rights to give them or what has been granted or what permission or approval has been given. We're now learning that today after all them time, nobody saying nothing. They tell you the radar going up that is fixing road. Then they tell all kind of things they telling us. We finally hear what this thing is about. And this is chilling to people who not fully understanding because we didn't get a government who was explaining things to us as they go along. They just drop and wheel up at all the things we've been seeing. People in Tobago were saying they hear planes flying, fly out. People in Rima say whole night they can't sleep, the song of this thing. And nobody telling us anything. And now we understand what this is about. Fali Chavez Augustine didn't know Tobago is a small island, no disrespect, but 65,000 people. He want to be the prime minister. He want to run things. He didn't even know they set up a radar in Tobago. And that plane was coming and dropping things in Tobago. He didn't even know that. But he want to rule in Tobago. Now listen to this. He don't know again. So where's your purpose? Where's your use to Tobago people? Because you is the head of the household. And man running in, all kind of thing running in. And when you get up, they tell you, Bolin, you didn't know. Where's the purpose? So listen to Fali here.
They have granted approvals for the United States military aircraft to transit Trinidad and Tobago airports in the upcoming weeks. Were you informed of this?
Well, I saw it from a press release today. So while I was canvassing, I saw the press release out to the public. So I take it that the government sought to inform everybody, including myself at the same time. But we had no prior discussion about it, but it came through a press release. In fact, the chief administrator is the one that sent it to me. It came to the office from the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, and it may have come to our office before it was made public. So yes, in a sense, we were notified before, but I'm happy that the entire public is also being notified of what's happening.
Are you worried for Tobago?
No, I'm not worried.
That Tobago is a target?
No, I'm not seeing Tobago as a target.
Fali not seeing Tobago as a target. The rest of the world are going to read all this something from what I think is the New York Times. That is not a Trinidad newspaper. He not worried. A radar up there that they try to make we believe was responsible for all the drugs they find. Based on what everybody's saying, all the experts, it's not me saying so. Commander Daryl Dindia, no, something Dindia is his name. Come out and say that radar can't see through no carony and all them kind of thing. That is up in the air, all that. They make me believe that some boat, they find the boat with all that weed on it and whatever, and they couldn't stay for surveillance because mosquito in the bush, they go by the police and them and get them dengue, and they couldn't. We seen the back and forth, you seen international news all over, and Fali saying he's not worried or he's not concerned. What about the harmful effect of a radar, especially that side in a small community, a small country, a small island like Tobago? Lymphoma and those type of blood disease, leukemia and all that. You're not concerned, you have a little daughter. You're not concerned, sir, about the long-term effect. You're not concerned the whole world watching us and all about the news, international news, they're talking, and it's sounding as though they're saying we complicit and all we're going on here. The American Congress, they're talking out, even Republican, that what the president is doing is legal with bombing these boats and all that. Sir, Fali, you have seen nothing wrong in that. That now we airspace and we airport based on the report that American military plane will be landing. The airport is not civilian passageway and civilians working there. No military airplanes from America getting to land in A&R Robinson based on what we read and Piaco Airport, and you're not concerned? Fali your head so far up. Kamala ARSC that you're getting that kind of fumes and you ain't getting reality. Asking a question. But you want to beg people to vote for you under them condition? Well, let me continue, Papa. Let me continue. We have a situation where Modi has downgraded Trinidad and Tobago. But we shouldn't be surprised because MP Stewart, who at the time was Prime Minister Stewart, who was also the Minister of Energy, would have told the country what will happen if a UNC comes into office, the valuation of the dollar IMF, our state assets, what will happen to those things? We see all those things happening now. Everything he's saying is playing out now. So Modi has downgraded us. Last year or earlier this year, I think it was, we were, the outlook was there was a word they used for it. Well, meaning that they could see the growth, they could see where we getting the money, they could see the development plan that the PNM have, they could see it happening. All they're growing, things nice. Yeah, work on that. Okay. Moody has downgraded this country to negative. Where it said all ain't going no way. Nothing this government plan ain't making sense. I'm putting it my way. Ain't making sense. You can't make nothing from that. I know long term nothing. Waste that time, my opinion. So, Amber slams government response to Moody downgrade as defensive. December the 14th, this was in the Trinidad Express. Former Finance Minister Com Embert has warned that Trinidad and Tobago credit ratings may be in jeopardy. Following a revision of the country's outlook, it was stable. We were stable. From stable to negative by rating agency Moody's, as it mainly cited short-term risk tied to failing official foreign exchange reserves. Embert argued yesterday that Finance Minister Devindranath Thakur response to the outlook revision was a defensive reaction. Responding to the Sunday Express via WhatsApp, Embert said international credit rating agencies look at a number of indicators and factors when assigning a rating or outlook to a country. They look at import cover, level of foreign reserve, debt, income and expenditure, fiscal balance, and economic sustainability, among several other things, he said. Embert asserted that under this new government, the 2025 budget deficit increased by over $3 billion. He said the government has also withdrawn from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund and borrowed quite heavily since assuming office. The public debt has therefore increased substantially, and our foreign reserves and import cover have dropped quite drastically since April 28, Embert stated. The Diego Martin Northeast MP said the 10% salary increase for public servants was also an unbudgeted expenditure item, which will significantly increase the budget deficit for 2026. He suggested that the government's new and or increased taxes and fees, such as alcohol taxes, landlord surcharge, and electricity surcharge, were unlikely to bring in the estimated revenue because of tax evasion. Oil production and natural gas production are stagnant, Embert said. He added that the downgrade of TNT's outlook was inevitable for the reasons above, and our credit ratings themselves may be in jeopardy. Reality check. Embert said a Thakur's statement on the outlook that Moody's acted prematurely was just a defensive reaction. Rating agencies look at countries over periods for several years. They don't make judgments based on speculative, untested theories, Embert stated. He said agencies such as Moody's rely on the information presented to them, which must be backed up by hard evidence, not wishful thinking. If the minister is right about the new government's plan, measures and programs creating the conditions for growth, which I doubt, that will not be known for several years. Rating agencies do not operate by VAPs or base their findings and conclusions on unproven theories, Embert said. Right, I commented them because I want you all to understand where we are. The former finance minister was also asked whether current political tensions between the United States and Venezuela and Trinidad's position in the issue was potentially causing uncertainty amongst investors and foreign investors. Embert responded that the current situation is very uncertain and investors, both local and foreign, require certainty to make an investment, not uncertainty. He also countered the view by some that Moody's rating was less urgent than any rating by Standard & Poor's, that's S&P. Embert said this position was also a defensive reaction. He said there are three highly respected credit rating agencies globally called the Big Three, namely S&P, Moody's, and Fitch. S&P and Moody's are thought to be on par, joint first rank by most international investors, that is, of that is, of good equal standing. Finch is considered to be the third, Edward said. So they now asked Brian Manning, who has been saying a lot on our economy and the finances and the 10% and everything like that, because he was a minister in the Ministry of Finance under Con Ember and the People's National Movement. So Manning, economy free falling. San Fernando East MP Brian Manning said yesterday that TNT economy has been in a free fall since the government assumed office. In a telephone interview, Manning said a finance minister may be able to hide details from the public, but he can't hide from the International Rating Agency. Manning, a former minister in the Ministry of Finance, underscored the government's borrowing, including its increase on the borrowing limit through the finance bill in 2026 national budget. He expressed concern that the limit was now as high as to be above parliamentary scrutiny, which was extremely dangerous. Manning said why the government would want to hide its external borrowing from the people of the country. He too noted that state payout promises to public servants. Manning said the government had made ridiculous promises, while any salary increase or back pay received by the unions will be going back into state coffers through increased taxation. He said the government's promise were at the expense of the economy. Right? Lordy, lordy, lordy. So I said, I'm not just hear what they alone have to say. Let me hear what economists are saying, because that is their forte. Okay? I'm not saying that Mr. Embert or Mr. Manning is not worth the soul, but you know, it's good to hear divergent views because first thing we go like PNM talking. So 21 hours ago, it will be 21 now, in the what is the Guardian? The Daily Express, it says here, foreign exchange pressures will intensify next year, says university economist Professor Roger Hossain. The following international rating agency, Moody, revised Trinidad and Tobago's outlook from stable to negative last Friday. It cited short-term risk linked to falling official foreign exchange reserves. Moody's rating on Trinidad and Tobago means the struggle continues. We remain even more than before in a very precarious position, Hossain said yesterday on TV6 Morning Edition program. He argued that the country needs stronger and more decisive policy leadership, noting some recent improvement, but warned that urgency is now critical. We need to hunt as wolves. With this sharp decline, the writing was always there. We are aware of these numbers. We have discussed it many times. The decline in the stock reserves at the central bank, he said. Hossain estimated that remaining foreign exchange reserve stands at about US 4.6 billion. However, he stressed that the most crucial period lies ahead, particularly between now and 2027, when the Manatee gas project is expected to come on stream. If it comes on stream, we have to manage this drying pool of resources, which is even tighter, he advised. Hossain believes the public can expect tougher conditions. If you are getting some apples and grapes, enjoy it this year as much as you could, because next year it will be a more difficult year for foreign exchange, and we cannot keep drawing down on the Heritage and Civilization Fund to get money to feed consumption of whatever purpose, for whatever purpose, he said. He said, as assessing the HSF to invest in projects that could generate foreign exchange, such as developing an e-tech park or making remedial changes to assets that could be rented may be justifiable. However, he cautioned against using the fund to meet recurrent expenditure, to pay PSA salaries or things that will cause further pressure on the price level and further demand on the foreign exchange. We would not do these type of things we should not do these type of things at all, he said. Describing the current situation as unsurprising, Hossain said the country has arrived exactly where projections had suggested. You know what I mean? Reading, Mama? Now, let me just read a little piece. Let me write a little piece. Which, which is dies after he should, where projections have been suggested, where he described that the situation is not unsurprising, right? He continued, which is continued fiscal deficit, continued decline in the stocks of reserve, continued decline in the labor force participation rate, he said. He also suggested that some financial entities were not doing enough to help regenerate foreign exchange, noting that the situation has become very tight. Tough years to minister. Looking ahead, Hussein suggested that three government ministers would have a difficult year. The finance minister, Ravindra Tangku, the minister of trade, Satyakama Maharaj, and the minister of planning, Kennedy Sarat Singh, have very rough years ahead of them in trying to limit the proportion of the remaining foreign exchange that is used for non-capital consumption purposes, which, while trying to expand the horizon of where we would earn more foreign exchange, he said. He said something about PSS, so I hope good sense prevails. Somebody should send a copy of Moody's report to the PSA and let us all work together and understand the state of the economy, he said. He said while he understood everybody deserved money and owed to them, the country simply did not have the cash to pay out back pay as they would like. We have to find deferred means and other means to make it work, he said. You know what would just be my problem with people like Professor Roger Hussain, I think? This is straight talk with me, as usual. When the People's National Movement said they couldn't pay more than 4% for them 6 years, 2014, 17, 17, 2014, 16, 17, 19, because if they were to pay more than the 4%, what it will cost the government in recurring expenditure, and it will create problems. They also show the PSA and other unions an economic outlook, a visual presentation of the economy at Trinidad and Tobago at that time. And everybody saw it. And after a while, I personally feel the unions are putting on a show when they refused to take the 4% because they didn't want, in my opinion, they didn't want the members to feel it just kayfabe. But the eventual thing was 4%. The two unions who hold out, we could say that is UNC, A team, and B team. Because the NUJFW, there's no hiding that fact that James Lambert, who was the president general of that union, was a UNC. He was a senator. He was the deputy speaker of the Senate or something. He could act as the president. He a UNC, union is a UNC. So them hold out because of whatever conversation they had with the UNC, in my opinion. But I know the PSA, which before was a union for all, it was not affiliated to any well, Duke wanted the PSA to be affiliated to the PDP, but he didn't get that opportunity in full to do that, right? But I moves on. We see that the PSA was affiliated to the UNC because they were meeting with the opposition UNC and telling members that they're meeting with them. And the UNC said again to office 10%. And I'm working with them. Felicia Thomas said she work is to make sure the PNM don't regain power. So it's the two UNC unions who hold out because they were promised XYZ, XYZ. But all the other unions accepted the 4% after a time because they realized when they watched the whole play that to get more, although it was not enough, grossly inadequate, and all the other things that goes with it, all the emotions and everything go with it. But half a loaf kind of theory is better than none. When I say take the kakada and move on, Batiste wanted to play, he trained shade at me and this fellow with the big ears who does have a show on Synergy or something. He is kind of real big. I can't remember his name. That I tell people, take the kakada. Well, yeah, take the kakada, move on, and we look for betterment. Then you get everything like the greedy dog, and then after, everything going up. You don't get any money, not in real time. So that money done devalued already. And then if you have inflation going even higher with that devalue money you don't get in, they go come to know you're going to be nice a little thing, you got a little thing. But when you move from 2 twos, that money go down, right? Because things are expensive and everything going up. So my point is this. People like Professor Hussain, and they wasn't coming out and saying at the time that the PNM is doing the right thing, because if they offer more, the country could. No, they was playing it low and laying it low. As if the PNM so wicked and bad and evil, and Dr. Elizabeth Tate and all them things they say. Now all they come to say that 10% offer, that recurrent expenditure, that could break we. Really? Well, we take the money like we self and then those study about hard times to come, because the PNM was wicked and evil and dictator. I see this guy, I think he does go by Ola, make a video and say he have friends and stuff who own bars and things. And they basically telling them they making no money now since this UNC come into office with all them taxes and alcohol. And not only they used to talk about the PNM, it had it bad, they used to still make money. Thing was still running nice, but they shame to talk. They shame to come and say anything because them our flag was in front of the place promoting UN. So that's why they shame now. So let me continue. All who watch the grass on the other side and say greener today, and all the suffering, we go eat grass. And Rolly is a dictator. But you could have called them all kind of nastiness. You could have march up and down Trinidad and Tobago. Nobody ain't doing nothing. You could have a placard and walk up and down. You could have a blowhorn and death hunting. Nobody ain't doing nothing. You can't march. You can't talk hard. You can't say nothing on Facebook. You can't say nothing here. You have to touch it. All that. Thing happening. Nobody telling you. You ask them. They're blowing in bag. All them things they ain't answering. They walking away. You hardly seen the Prime Minister. Whenever, however, wherever, and nobody, the UNC wicked and bad. She's the mother. She comes to help Trinidad. Let me tell you something. Some of us song like all of us get abused and accustomed to abuse. So that you're so prone to abuse and you get so numb to it, you even know you're getting abused. That's my opinion with some people. So again, people talking out about this thing because this is a serious thing. Moody's Forex fallout, Moody's lower, TNT outlook to negative. I'm definitely not going to read this whole thing. International rating agency Moody has revised Trinidad and Tobago outlook from stable to negative, citing short-term risk tied to falling official foreign exchange reserve. And I leave it there. Then the now Prime Minister said that PNM and them had some Forex cartel and the cartel this, and when them come there, they go investigate whatever. But look put the man there. The man is there. Hawaii is there. How Hawaiian find no cartel yet? How Hawaiian fix the Forex exchange back and all yet? How that affects? In fact, he come out and he explain how this scene is. So now Moody down ready, and I'm sure Standard and Poor's coming next. And this constant waiting to get ill-gotten gains, that's my opinion. This waiting to get ill-gotten gains from people suffering or murder is a wicked and nasty act. And if that is how Trinidad and Tobago want we to get revenue in this country by taking advantage of people suffering and murder and mayhem and confusion to say you go eat and drink nice and you go have things nice. Let me tell you something, or you can start to swallow the food. All people talk about that, teeth people thing. And let people go down on their knees and cry and pray on you, and you catch your ass more than you was catching it before. So all who saying down waiting for things to jump off Venezuela and US, and all we go be saved. Make America great again has nothing to do with Trinidad and Tobago. We are white. So if all feel this protection, because when the shit jump off them, get what they want, History has shown them that's gone, and you remain in the chaos. They think they're going to stay in Trinidad and build back Trinidad for we. When them have that will take millions and billions of dollars to have them out here. They think America have all that kind of money to waste when they have their own issues to deal with. Who will help we after? When we get ourselves tangled up with the closest neighbor in Bacchanal, who? So all them of Indian descent who don't like all themselves and feel all they right under white people, and some are all better than African people, so that the white man here now and they go protect we and the white. How did they protect you all in India? Tell me how the white man they protect all their great-great-grandmother and father who run from India to come Trinidad. How did the white man protect them there? That they had to run from India. The Dalits and them had to run from India because of the inhuman caste system that had to run from the white man to come to Trinidad. All they need to check all this self, yes. Some all the Indian people in this country and some the African who follow in that stupidness. I all in favor if America could help with security, help with drugs and all that. I don't have a problem with that. Follow the law and do things the right way. And our government should be encouraging to do things the right way. So let me continue. Enough about that. Enough about that. So when all this thing going on, here come up a service sensor. And all getting news like the Sally Cargo Star. And if that is true, don't be surprised. Director get that video where Stuart Young was speaking about what will happen if we allow the UNC to get into governance. They will start to sell only state this and state that. Get from an please. I'm now saying it is alleged solely Cargo Star. Don't be surprised. Stuart Young tell me that they will start to sell. If you say no in a chair, if you get up, when you go to sit back down, that gone. You have to make sure you look back to see the chair still, they go sell out everything. So this is our Prime Minister response to everything, right? She said, we have never, this is because Venezuela president has said all gas deals that they have with Trinidad and Tobago, whatever contract, whatever the idea and that it and dies it. Nothing, none, no dealings with me at all. No response to them thing. We have never, let me see if I find it on the deck here. We have never depended on Venezuela for natural gas supplies. We have adequate reserves within our territory. We are aggressively working to reduce bureaucratic barriers to speed up approvals for energy companies. The real issue is bureaucracy is hindering our exploration and production. Now, the Ryder Scott report said Trinidad and Tobago has gas for 10 years, reserved for 10 years. But it's very disingenuous of our Prime Minister to say that they never depended on Venezuela for gas. When just recently, about a month after they get into office, was happy to come back to show we the gas dragon is on. Dragon gas is on. That the contract here. And them go fly out when they ask them and who will go and negotiate for this gas now. She said, alluded to the fact she would go. So not to turn and say, Honorable Prime Minister, that we never depended on Venezuela for gas, that is very disingenuous. And we have reserved within the territory, of course we have, but it only has gas for 10 years. And that is bureaucracy is causing the reason why I'm hearing an exploration. That is not true. Because we have gas reserve to look that will come into fruition 2027. I think that is Manatee, if I'm not mistaken. So it has nothing to do with bureaucracy. It has to do with the fact we don't have much gas. That's why we was looking outside. But that is what they do. Mayhem and confusion and have you wondering what is really true and what is not true. But you all were warned, but you all didn't care because Rowley, too black and ugly. Rowley's a dictator. How Rowley could put Stuart Young dead as 1%. And Rowley this and Rowley that and Rowley this hard. But while all the hardness and dictatorship are going stink and dirty, had a place to keep the fat. It was being kept down in Brian Lara Stadium down there in the car park. Fat was keeping in the Oval. Fat that keeping in the Savannah, stink and dirty, Marshall Monday. Wherever fat, you could think about it happening all over. Now the fat promoters and them could they could get broke, go broke because it last year it had over 200 and something fats under Dr. Rowley, the dictator. The tyrant that had over 200 and something fats under the tyrant and dictator, the wicked, evil Rowley. But under the good, nice lady this year, it mustn't even having about 100 fats for Carnival. Fat promoters wasn't quarreling that they ain't getting the venues. They get quarrel with the noise and I can understand your treat and deal with that, but they didn't have a problem to get venue. Under the wicked and evil Rowley, the black ugly man, the blank man, the Oreo. Things was nice. Cars that selling, grocery billing. People walking, CPAP workers walking, they would have been looking forward to buy the little thing, the curtain, they would have put it on layaway. So they was going to collect it all this week to get a curtain where they was paying on. The Susuhan would have been coming in next week. They could make the grocery with that and all. All that would have been happening, CPAP, URP. No, that ain't happening. I comment to that with a new program where they bring a knockoff from CPAP. So let me continue. Lord Father. Listen to this.
Rural Development Minister Khadija Amin confirmed the national program for the upkeep of public spaces was not the return of CPAP but a pilot project. The plan proposed hiring workers directly through the ministry and deploying them in structured teams to municipal corporations. CNC3 News sought clarity on how the program differs from CPAP, but repeated calls to the minister went unanswered. With limited information beyond a leaked cabinet note outlining proposed costs, chairmen of government-run corporations say the extra manpower is welcome.
This will definitely benefit the work that we are doing because it is additional hand, and we need that, of course, especially for public spaces.
Since the closure of CPAP, the schools were coming to the regional corporation asking for help. So now this program will be able to assist there.
But PNM Deputy Political Leader and attorney representing 3 former CPAP contractors, Sanjeev Boodoo, warns the government could be inviting litigation.
But from the moment that you deciding who qualified and who not qualified, and somehow it is linked to if they had worked for CPAP before, then you are in fact exposing yourself to litigation and to liability. That is a clear case again of discriminating against a certain class of people in society.
Meanwhile, Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation Chairman Josiah Austin says while maintenance efforts are needed, the proposal is grossly inadequate for a region of its size, urging a review of manpower and funding. And Diego Martin Mayor Akila Glasgow Warner said in a Facebook post, the borough has been inundated with calls about jobs, but stressed hiring rests solely with the ministry, noting Diego Martin has just one 12-member team. While Minister Amin has been silent, the minister in the Ministry of Housing says fired CPAP, reforestation and European workers will be rehired.
All of the 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 people that the
PNN keep talking about that out of work, all of them going to be gainfully employed, but without PNN ministers and members of parliament using the program to thief money.
Yeah, that cutters, that mother ass. Yes, it's that kind of show. Unfiltered. So this is what that beautiful young lady saw just now in Ting there, the mayor of Diego Martin, first mayor of the borough of Diego Martin, because Diego Martin became a borough, Killer Glasgow. This is what she said. Since the recent announcement of the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government pilot project implementation of a national program for the upkeep of public spaces, councillors, mayors, chairmen, and administrative staff have been bombarded with calls and messages from persons seeking to get on the program. This was likely due to the fact that the announcement stated the program would be done through corporations. These calls are also a reflection of the tens of thousands of people who were recently terminated under programs somewhat similar to this one. However, it is very important that some facts be told, be noted. One, these persons were selected by the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government by the powers that be. Two, no councillor, mayor, or CEO are or were part of the hiring process, and therefore are not in the position to make any recommendations for employment under this program. Three, the ministry has assigned one team to the entire borough of Diego Martin. The team is made up of 12 people, one foreman, one checker, and 10 laborers. Other corporations got 1 to 2 based on their size. 4, while these persons are assigned to and will work under the supervision of the borough senior administrative staff, their salaries will be paid by the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government. 5, apart from documents that were leaked on social media, this information was officially made available to mayors, chairmen, councillors, and CEOs today, Friday, the 12th of December, at a meeting with the Minister and Permanent Secretary. 6, they are expected to start work on Monday, the 15th of December. This pilot project is expected to run for 13 weeks. Please do not skip point 1 and 2, which tells you that the person selected to work on the program was selected by the Ministry of Rural Development, and that no councillor, mayor, or CEO were part of the hiring process. So they're trying to cut out corruption. So they put it under the ministry. So it means the minister will have oversight of who to choose and who not to choose. And the ministry not paying them. But when it was CPEP, it wasn't the contractors who they say had corrupt contracts was paying the CPEP workers. It was the CPEP company that was paying the CPEP workers. What will be different now? Or the minister will have an input in who to hire? That will be the difference now. Let me continue. I will show you all the video, but let me read this one. So this was 19 hours ago in the news. Of course, it's not 19 no more. 220 workers start upkeep program. Tanopuna Piaco Regional Corporation says staff sent without tools. So they fired 10,500 CPEP workers who were cleaning Trinidad and Tobago. They fired them and they put nothing for months. The whole place overgrown. Bush high up all over Trinidad and Tobago, and they hire how much? 200 people for this new program. Let me read and see. Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, JAMMIN, confirmed to Newsday that her ministry new initiative, the Upkeep of Public Spaces program, was launched nationwide December 15 with 220 workers. You fire 10,500 CPAP workers. The whole place like a blasted dustbin. A jungle. And then just hire on a pilot program 220 workers under the purview of the ministry that the minister will have oversight on. Yes. Tanapuna Piako Regional Corporation Chairman Josiah Austin told Newsday his corporation held an orientation day for the new workers, but lamented they had been allegedly so few, especially for a corporation that covered such a large geographical area as his. Interestingly, Amin had once been Austin's predecessor heading the corporation in 2010-13. She confirmed the veracity of the cabinet minute and had approved the new program, which had been leaked online last week. Amin said, unlike claims on social media, the program was not crafted as any replacement for CPEP. Grass cutting. You all say that CPEP are grass cutters. These new pups or nups or whatever it is, they're cutting grass. So it is nothing new than the CPEP. It's just like less people, and it's under the purview of the minister who could hire and say who they want to win they want. They're still cutting grass. What do you think they're cutting? Mango tree? Pine tree? It's grass they're cutting. So they created a next program to cut grass. Where's the improvement? All they call 10,500 CPEP workers grass cutters. All they gonna do better than that and elevate them. Elevate them to better jobs, sustainable jobs. But you have 220 people still cutting the blasted grass. As grass cutters, all they cut, tell people the blasted truth. It had nothing to do with no grass cutters. It had to do all they wanted, all their own people. But they can just fire people and give them more opinion now. Couldn't just fire people and think, so you have to say the program corrupt. But then there's the contractor who always say the contractor was given it last minute, and the contractors wasn't paying no CPEP workers. It was the CPEP company. So if the contractors was corrupt or some whatever contract, will they interfere with the 10,500 CPEP workers who always says grass cutters? Because they send them home just so heartless. Evil, wicked. Kid Christopher Rowley, the doctor honorable who always say was wicked and evil and bad, he would have never send home 10,500 CPEP workers. And not because it's P&M thing and all that, because it's human beings. Because that's Indian people working there who ain't no P&M. It's African people working there who ain't no P&M neither. So not 10,005 was P&M, but they were human beings at the lower level who some of them may not have had the academic qualification to go further, or they may have been studying while they do this. For whatever reason, he would have never, a P&M government would have never sent home reforestation workers, CPEP workers, and all them contracted workers that are find a way to keep them while they do the work. But don't know, the Ben always saying Dr. Rowley was wicked and evil, and we go eat grass. All you can see where he's eating grass now. It have enough to cut, so we might have to eat some of that. Well, not we, because I never said I was suffering. All who said I was suffering under Dr. Kid Christopher Rowley, all you go eat grass, you don't hear the economists say, eat your apple and grapes this year, Because next year, God's spare, it ain't have no foreign exchange to bring in them thing, All you want to start to suck mango, and eat pomsite, and eat putigal, and eat pomarac, and suck chenet. Oh, they're wicked, yes? So watch it here. Watch the non-grass cutters, but it's different than CPEP. This is so different. This is elevating the workers and giving them sustainable jobs in a pilot program for 13 weeks. Watch them. Oh my goodness. Whew. Yeah. Pissing we face and tell we it's raining. Unless somebody skin up their face and ball, says a golden shower. Me one of them. You can't piss in my face and say it's raining. Always say CPEP and the PNM created one set of grass cutters. Always send them and fire them because always say corruption with the contract. When the contractors was not paying the workers. Always coming with something new to elevate sustainable jobs, take them away from grass cutting. All they come about 3 months after, they fire all them people. The tears go fall on them, but mothers must go down on their knees and call out to the God and call out the name. All they come with something different. And come now with a pilot project where they're still cutting grass and over 220 of them for 13 weeks. But this is a loving, caring. I don't know if it's because I've given an opinion. In the Indian community, there's so much abuse and violence against women of Indian descent, where it does lead domestic violence into the killing the woman that only accustomed to abuse. That only feel only to abuse. People are giving an opinion. Because you understand that it's same grass they cut in. And the condition the country in, them 220 people for 30 weeks, yeah, cut down all them grass and them there. Or they had a functioning thing. No, they can work with something but wicked and evil, in my opinion, because all they tie them to PNM. Well, only hire UNC now. Hire UNC now and elevate them. There's not a grass cutter no more. I go find a word, an Indian word where they say grass cutter, or some next language and say grass cutter. It might sound bougie. Because they cry down on grass cutters, Or they cry down on grass cutters, Now tell you all they hire 10 people to cut grass. All they go there. Look, let me continue. So I see in the Guardian, slow Christmas sales worry business owners in San Fernando. I read a little piece because I want to talk to that business owner. Well, they're good deceitful. Less than 2 weeks before Christmas, there is no hustle and bustle at the main shopping center, High Street, San Fernando, yesterday, causing concern among some business owners. Shop owners say they have reduced prices to attract bargain hunting customers, noting that shoppers are looking for deals more than ever this season. Despite the slow sales, Kiran Singh, president of the Greater San Fernando Area Chamber of Commerce, said the pattern appeared to be normal. Hi, that's why I ain't go read no more. There they go. It's just like the two who talked just now with this the knockoff CPEP program, Gongtang and Growy, wherever. They welcome this thing and the additional help. How do you ask to go have additional help when only send them 10,500 and hire back 220? What additional? To be additional mean that on the 10,500 only get 220 more. I don't know if it's just an Indian thing and all let us just go with Indian, wherever Indian people say, all there's one people, we don't care what they say, and because I'm trying to understand. What help are they getting with this additional 220 when 10,500 come out the whole blasted system and we're now starting with 220? That's additional help? So and now one businessman say everything's slow in thing, but Kiran Singh, the president of the Greater San Fernando Area Commerce, Chamber of Commerce, he said their pattern appears to be normal. So I want to tell you with all due respect, you lie. I want to tell you with all due respect, so you lie. What going on here ain't no pattern, ain't no normal. All them CPEP workers and URP workers and all them contract workers, all they take out of the system, they must spending their money every day, every fortnight, every week. Them had the place pump. Sorry about that. I know we're going there. Or let's take out out the system just like that. I'm talking about that is normal pattern. There's no normal pattern. Porter spenders be like a blasted go down there. I go somewhere no normal pattern. A man show you down in Shogunas when nobody ain't buying nothing. We said the place slow and you was talking about how steep thing and all that. But all still want to hold on. because they want to go against. Look, I ain't reading no blasted more, yes? I ain't reading no more. I ain't reading no more. They're afraid to come out and talk the truth. Me vex with nobody, you know. Me ain't vex with a soul. But talk the truth. So Fali is saying he don't know nothing going on in this country, in his country, because Tobago is here, right? Tobago is here. He want to be prime minister, you on island. And he never knew nothing. 15th of December, this was in the Trinidad Express. Government, let me see if I see it here. Let me just put it up. Government has confirmed that it will permit United States military aircraft to transit local airports in the coming weeks as part of the ongoing bilateral security cooperation between the two countries. In a media release issued on Monday, the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs said approvals have been granted for the movements, which the United States has described as logistical in nature. According to the ministry, the aircraft transit will facilitate supply replenishment and routine personnel rotation and do not signal any change in Trinidad and Tobago defense posture. Never seen this? You see that, Minister? I don't want to be disrespectful to you, sir, but you sound like a real ass. And because you sound like a real ass, sir, you're starting to look like a real ass. That's just my opinion. I mean, you no disrespect. The ministry stressed that the decision falls within long-standing security and defense arrangements between Port of Spain and Washington, aiming at strengthening regional safety, security, and stability. According to the ministry, through this partnership, Trinidad and Tobago has benefited from joint military training exercises, improved surveillance capabilities, including, the installation of an advanced radar system and collaborative operations that have led to seizures of millions of dollars worth of illegal narcotics. And you see that the point I'm making, sir. You're not an expert in that area, and the expert in that area saying the surveillance, the radar that's set up in Tobago had nothing to do with that big drug find. It said nothing. That would tell you that you're sounding like an ass. This is my opinion. Excuse me. Right? Director, when I finish read this, if you just put on, right back, let me go and get some water, please. Excuse me. Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Minister Sean Soba said the government maintains close engagement with the United States Embassy in Trinidad and Tobago and remains committed to cooperation in the interest of national and regional security. Excuse me. Prime Minister Kamla Persaud-Sessa, the ministry stated, has reaffirmed the government's support for collaboration with the United States, particularly in efforts to combat transnational crime and enhance public safety across the Caribbean. I really don't know more, you know why? Only see them kind of thing we landing in the airport. All I'm saying, couldn't the goodly Prime Minister have told us, excuse me, all these things in the beginning, so that we will be, by now we would have known what is coming, what to expect and all that. That's not what they were telling us. Excuse me. When I was about the radar, they say it's to fix road, it's fixing road. Then the US said, oh, share no information. And then they just here for training. They come to Ting in schools. Then you only see one school. Then we see the shop in Tobago and they give one Tobago school some computer. So it comes from schools to a school. And it just goes on and on and on. Everybody seeing thing here and helicopter, this, that, and all. They just line and line to we are now come to drop this on me. And Fali, this is next ass. I had to call all them ass now, you know. I had to call all of them ass. All right, well, give me a minute. Let me just go and get some water here, please.
See me, so long you not see me, when you see me, I will take it away. So long you not see me, when you see me, I will take it away. So long you not see me, woman say they want feel me, promoter say they need me. To mash up the place, to rip up the place, so can music don't steal me, and the power reveal me. Some woman claim that they dream me. I swear. So long you not see me, when you see me, I will take it away. So long you not see me, when you see me, I will take it away.
Sorry about that, people. I'm back. Thank you so much, Director. So as I was saying, the lies, because they're appearing to be lies, not coming and talking to the public truthful. And we will understand if we come out and tell us the truth. We will understand. We may not agree, but we will understand. But this man, Rodney Charles, has said it best, you know. The only government to take us out, or the only party to take us out of mayhem and chaos and confusion is the People's National Movement. And we've seen that the UNC apparently loves to rule it, fear, chaos, confusion, bacchanal, to have you on edge. So after a while, they get so bogged down and so worn out that you just don't care. You just, whatever happen. But we jamming still. We are resilient people. We jamming still. So let me continue. So we are not happening. So our airports are now, in my opinion, a military airport. So when we build these airports, that is for tourists and our civilians working there, public officers working there, and civilians coming through. Now it is intermingling, from what I'm reading, with military plane landing and one set of soldiers walking through the airport. And some in Trinidad and Tobago want to tell me that is normal and it is okay. I continues. So as I was saying, there are people who are questioning the ganja bus. So this was the 14th December, Trinidad Express. It says, I wish to commend the Commissioner of Police and the entire Trinidad and Tobago Police Service for the large drug discovery over the past few days. The Commissioner and the government, both in sync, in similar fashion, praised the radar as the key element in this operation. I saw a video, not me right this, okay. I saw a video of the commissioner explaining why no one was arrested during this exercise. The reason being the perpetrators would have been informed that police officers were on site, so there was no use in conducting a sting operation to cause his officers to get dengue. A sting operation to get sting by the mosquito to get dengue. Let me read that again. So there was no need for his officers to remain on site in conducting a sting operation to cause his officers to get dengue. I certainly have little knowledge of policing or intelligence tactics, but a question that arises is if the radar located the drugs remotely. I assume that is what a radar does. Would it not have been prudent to continue the surveillance utilizing said radar in order to arrest the individuals when they return for their huge stash? The explanation for the non-arrest does not sit well with a common man. In order to make a dent in the importation of narcotics and illegal items in the country, the individuals responsible must be arrested and persecuted. Without arrest and persecution, the police, as well as the government, will have a never-ending battle against criminal elements. I generally praise the officers who were involved in taking these drugs off the street. And for that reason, the risk of a few officers conducting a sting operation now in order to arrest the criminals involved may perhaps save the lives of many, including officers later on. If individuals have the capabilities to bring this much drugs into our territory, it may be reasonable to think that this is not their first rodeo, and most likely this will not be their last. Intelligence-led policing is crucial and compulsory for progress, so said one Nigel Finath Singh. I continue. This here was in the news there is an editorial. It said, in war, we are not on our own. The Insurance Brokers Association of TNT, let me read it again. In war, we are on our own. So the Insurance Brokers Association of Trinidad and Tobago issued on December 11th a formal release warning that damage or destruction resulting from war will not be covered by general insurance. According to the association, war losses are catastrophic and unpredictable, making them difficult to price or ensure sustainability. Those exclusion and general reluctance to issue coverage for war damage roll up through the hierarchy of liability from insurer to reinsurer. According to Navin Dukaran, an executive board member of the association, individuals can talk to their broker who can canvass foreign insurance companies to find options for coverage. But the problem is global. Because the difficulty of realistically assessing the sums that might be incurred in war losses and arriving at a cost for premiums that might cover them is universally inconsistent. Businesses operating in Trinidad and Tobago over the last 36 years will already know how the specific limitations of insurance can affect their businesses. After Yassim Abu Bakr took hostages at TTT, announced a coup of the government, and urged citizens not to loot, it's widely believed that his caution was read as an invitation. The resultant looting and destruction in 1990 cost businesses in Port of Spain more than $1 billion in lost goods, damaged equipment, and fire-gutted properties. It was an unhappy reflection of the impact of Black Power demonstrations in the city in April 1970 and the resulting state of emergency that chilled commerce in the cities for months. Insurance claims were also denied after the 1990 coup attempt. That's not the whole thing, just after the coup attempt, just now. The whole thing just went. After the 1990 coup attempt, 2 insurance test cases were filed, the Nahus and Grill Toral action, only to confirm that insurers would provide no recompense for losses resulting from conflict. The consequences of the misadventure of 1970 and 1990 should stand as a sober reminder of the reality of battle zones and the potential they hold for costly disruptions to TNT society. The unrest of 1970 and 1990 was amplified by an ever-increasing caliber of weaponry with concurrent growth in destructive power. But this country has not faced a major military conflict by armed external forces on its shore since Tobago was invaded in 1781 and 1803. Beyond the immediate risk to life and property posed by increasing tensions between the US and Venezuela, there are potential consequences if TNT is identified as a high-risk port of call, with attendance increasing the insurance costs for cargo shipping and airlifts. After 9/11, the FAA responded to heavy insurance losses by temporarily expanding its aviation war risk program for US carriers, and private insurers canceled their policies. Bumbershoot or portmanteau policies exist to cover specific war risks to commercial shipping. The reality of insurance during conflict reflects the uncertainties of war itself. It is both costly and unpredictable. So all them in this country who wishing some type of military action be taken against Venezuela by America, understand wheezy grass and this thing. And if there's to be some type of retaliation from wherever, whoever, whatever, and businesses are lost, and all, yeah, no insurance going to take up those claims. So all who salivating saying America go help we, America will help the self and the citizen. That is their first obligation, not Trinidad. We may be a means to an end. And when the end, Trinidad and Tobago remains or remain in ashes. That's what they want for their children. All the children, all they want now, all your parents, your wife, your loved one, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, those who studying, those who are the business, those who are young entrepreneurs, that's all they want. Before they be praying that this situation be ended in a diplomatic way and the Caribbean remain a zone of peace, and that America goes back with all this heavy artillery, because this is real heavy artillery, warm artillery. Go back with that, leave whatever light thing to help with the fight and drugs and whatever, no problem. Or they're wishing ill on our next country. That's all they used to take tours and go Caracas and shop. Go Venezuela. Your friends coming across are going to be blunt, them whole house and them. Was someone was frequenting. Or they did love Venezuela woman then. No money? No money? Or they love that. Plenty of all here. Had the same Venezuelan woman and made children with plenty of Indian man. Had children with Venezuelan women and proud walking all over. Or they now start to hate Venezuela. That's all they want bad things to happen to them. Let a Venezuela walk out, they walk out. There was a sovereign place. Let America and Venezuela treat with this thing in a diplomatic way. No, they want to weigh the insurance, and then telling you, if anything happen and jump out like in 1990, whatever, all other business will get nothing. Shipping coming down here to bring medicine, bring food, nothing. We have food to feed one another. All they have 5 and 6 car park up, all they will be able to drive it. Where the gas coming from? Where the drive to go? All of the big house when window roof this blow out and just a shell, like what we see all in Gaza and all that. All gonna enjoy life. You think the money in the vault go help all? Yeah? And because you're a Saga or a Nahus, or you're a Singer or a Maharaj, it go help. All of we go be at one playing field, one level, in robbers. But all they wishing ill because all they want to get in on Venezuela gas to prop up Trinidad and Tobago. When all they have to do is do the right thing in this country. Manage the economy proper. Now they want easy thing. People thing all day long. And well, Kamala is the mother. Kamala is the queen. Let me continue. Yes, everybody entitled to their choices. It's a democracy. Let me continue. This was put out by, it says Venezuela. Not just here. It says here, I'll try and read it. Statement. The government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela reports that it has full knowledge of the participation of the government of Trinidad and Tobago in the theft of Venezuelan oil, committed by the U.S. administration on December the 10th with assault on a vessel transporting the strategic Venezuelan product. This act of piracy continues a serious violation of international law and a blatant transgression of the principles of free navigation and trade. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, has revealed a hostile agenda against Venezuela since taking office, including the installation of U.S. military radar to harness vessels transporting Venezuelan oil. This official has turned the territory of Trinidad and Tobago into a U.S. aircraft carrier to attack Venezuela in an unequivocal act of vassalage. Faced with this escalation of hostility and serious aggression, President Nicolas Maduro proceeded at the time to denounce the framework agreement for energy cooperation signed with Trinidad and Tobago. Today, faced with this extremely serious act that blatantly attempts to steal Venezuelan oil, the Venezuelan government has decided to immediately terminate any contract agreement or negotiation for the supply of natural gas to that country. Venezuela demands respect, and it will not allow any colonial entity and its vassal to threaten the sacred sovereignty of the country and its right to development. Venezuela will always prevail. And so this is coming out of Caracas, December the 15th, 2025. All right. Let me just get this here. Because everybody feels this like this. Not everybody, but somehow they feel this is a joke. Give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. New York Times, Miss Leah and interview. Just 1 minute. This was in the New York Times. The United States and Trinidad and Tobago says U.S. Marines install a radar, just so. Install a radar in Tobago to combat drug, but this war material isn't designed for operations based at sea or on land. Right? This was in the New York Times, and it says more. Say for let's feel that this thing is just Trinidad. All over the world, and they're linking us to whatever Lele and Bacchanal with. Look now. Listen to this.
I like to look at these things from a historical perspective, right? So, you know, this whole hemisphere from Canada down to Argentina, we were all European colonies. And in the Caribbean, the number one, the most prosperous European colony in the 17th century was Barbados. And then in the 1700s, that title passed over to Jamaica. And then that title passed from Jamaica to Haiti. And then in the 19th century, it passed to Cuba. The point I'm making is these territories in the Caribbean were very, very valuable to the European colonial masters. Now, if we take a long historical view of our developments, the colonies in North America came together, solidified, and established the United States of America. Very powerful country today. The colonies to the north of them solidified and came together and established the Confederation of Canada. Very powerful country today. We likewise in the Caribbean, what we are trying to do, we are trying to do something similar. We are trying to integrate, come together, and establish a powerful Caribbean civilization. We may not become a single nation like the USA or Canada, but it is our intention through building relationships, through Caribbean integration, to lift our region of the Caribbean to that level of strength. The same way Canada did it, the US did it, we can do it as well. And so Cuba is a very, very important component of that Caribbean civilization. It is the biggest Caribbean island. It constitutes about 30% of the entire territory of our Caribbean. And because, I mean, it has a population of over 10 million people, so Cuba has strengths that other smaller Caribbean countries don't have. And we, to our credit, we have had the good sense. Every CARICOM country has established an embassy in Cuba, and likewise Cuba has established an embassy in every CARICOM country. So we must have that big picture, that long view of history. This is the path that we are on, and we cannot allow the United States, yes, you went ahead, you consolidated, you formed your powerful nation state. Why are you trying to isolate Cuba and to deny the rest of us the benefits that come from cooperation and integration with Cuba?
Somebody now send this to me, and if this is true, I just want to ask the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago and all the government ministers, what have you all done? The person sent this to me comes from, it says that Donald J. Trump, it says, Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. It will only get bigger, and the shock to them will be like nothing they've ever seen before. Until such time as they return to the United States of America, all of the oil, land, and other assets that they previously stole from us. The legitimate Maduro regime is using oil from these stolen oil fields to finance themselves, drugs, terrorism, human trafficking, murder and kidnapping. For the theft of our assets and many other reasons, including terrorism, drug smuggling, and human trafficking, the Venezuelan regime has been designated a foreign terrorist organization. Therefore, today I'm ordering a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela. The illegal alien and criminals that the Maduro regime has sent into the United States during the weak and inept Biden administration are being returned to Venezuela at a rapid pace. America will not allow criminals, terrorists, or other countries to rob, threaten, or harm our nation. And likewise, it will not allow a hostile regime to take our oil, land, or any other asset, all of which must be returned to the United States immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. It says here, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, December 16, 2025. No, I don't know if this is true. All I'm saying again, Kamala Pasabi, Cecil, and your government, what have you all done? What have you all signed us up to? You did not speak to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know if this is true, but I'm trying to understand how Venezuela take America oil and the land and others. I just don't understand. I don't understand this. I don't know. This must be a prank. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Look what nearly happened to a blue jet airline.
We had to stop our climb.
Tonight, a tense incident between a JetBlue flight and a U.S. Air Force plane flying near Venezuela.
We almost had a mid-air collision up here.
The JetBlue pilot describing the harrowing moments which happened on Friday to air traffic control and blaming the military plane for crossing his path.
They passed directly in our flight path. They don't have their transponder turned on. It's outrageous.
How dangerous was this incident?
The airplanes were still several miles apart. So the tanker crew could, in all likely, was aware that the JetBlue airplane was there. There was a loss in normal separation, and it would have been very disturbing to the JetBlue crew to all of a sudden see an Air Force tanker much closer than you would normally expect to see other traffic.
The JetBlue flight was coming from Curacao, just off the coast of Venezuela, and heading to New York City's JFK Airport. Tonight, JetBlue saying in a statement, "We have reported this incident to federal authorities and will participate in any investigation." And a Southern Command spokesperson tells us they're currently reviewing the matter. The incident comes as the U.S. has stepped up activity in the Caribbean, with President Trump targeting alleged drug traffickers in several boat strikes. And last month, the president posting this online: "To all airlines, pilots, drug dealers, and human traffickers, please consider the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela to be closed in its entirety."
Yamiche is joining us now from the White House. And Yamiche, it's not unusual for military aircraft to have their transponders off, right?
That's right. The expert we spoke to said the U.S. military often turns off transponders because they don't want to broadcast positions of any military aircraft to potential adversaries. He also noted he did not think there was a high risk of collision here. Hallie?
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
There's an article in the Express. Darius Fugaro suggested that should the United States stage a military entry into Venezuela, or should conflict erupt between the countries' Trinidad and Tobago alignment with America, could make this country a target of Venezuela's allies, including Russia. You don't go and read no more. I see the Dominican Prime Minister give me a minute. If this thing is a joke to some people, because they so hate themselves and pretending as African people they hate. They have thought that ancestry. Which is no fault of we want, so they want to take out that hate on people. That only willing in this country to see this country burn to the ground. To see this country burn to the ground in order to facilitate this feeling that all they have that is temporary, because at the end when the thing happen, God forbid it does happen, it's all away. You think you go have African across and Indian across and the Americans will come and help the Indians and the Africans, so them and helping none away. I see a list of countries who they're saying not allowed to come into America now with, you put them on a list. What do you think is going? I know I've seen it here and I was not reading it. And I just right. I'm seeing here, I don't know true again, nationals holding passport from the following 15 countries are now restricted from entering United States: Angola, Antigua and Barbuda, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Dominica, Gabon, the Gambia, Malawi, Mauritania, Nigeria, Senegal, Tanzania, Tonga, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Again, I don't know how true that is, but I'm seeing it on a space that I usually get my info. Why one of the countries named there intrigued me. Dominica is because the Dominican Prime Minister is willing to serve as a mediator in the US-Venezuela conflict. So your country, based on what I saw here, so Dominican Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt said Monday that his country is prepared to act as a mediator in the current conflict between the United States and Venezuela, reiterating that the Caribbean region should always be a zone of peace. Well, so if the list I seen here is true, you and all can go to America. So I know they go want to hear what you have to say. Jesus, Lord have mercy. So Tanko is taking note of the, just a minute. He taken note of the planned day of rest and reflection by nurses personnel over outstanding wages. And I want to say this very quickly. So he said the government said it has taken note of the planned day of rest and reflection by nursing personnel over outstanding wage settlements. While we respect the right to protest, we urge that patient care and essential services be protected at all times. This is from Minister of Finance, who we have his name. The Chief Personnel Officer, CP, and the Public Service Association signed a memorandum of agreement on the 2nd of December 2025 for the bargaining periods 2014-16 and 17-19, including a 10% wage increase with new salary payments starting in January 2026 and retroactive allowances from the 1st of January 2040. In a media release on Friday, 12th of December 2025, Minister Tanku said regional health authorities are public sector bodies created under their own act and are not part of the core public service governed by the Civil Service Act. When RHAs were first operationalized, staff who transferred from the civil service and statutory authorities were guaranteed that at the point of transfer, they would not be placed on less favorable terms. This was a one-time safeguard, not an open-ended guarantee that every future civil service wage increase would automatically follow them into the RHA. In fact, the government knows that on the 13th of January 2025, the Trinidad and Tobago Nursing Association was certified as a recognized majority union for certain nursing positions at the Eastern Regional Health Authority and is now entitled to engage in collective bargaining for this group under the Industrial Relations Act. I would just leave that there for a minute. When the RHAs were formed, of course, yes, some, because all nurses, everybody became from the public service through Service Commission. When the RHAs were formed, nurses went across, cooks went across, and all personnel who are part of the hospital system went across to the RHAs. They went across on terms and conditions not less favorable than they enjoyed within the public service. So the wages, the benefits and everything. And also they were part of the union, so the union, they were able to enjoy the rights of the union. So that part is true. The minister is saying that that was basically a one-time thing, that it didn't continue. And that the nurses union has recognition for certain category of nurses in the Eastern Regional Authority. I want to tell the minister also, when he said that all regional health authorities have their own board that do the thing different. So the nurses, the Registered Nurses Association may have the RMU status for the nurse, some category of nurses, because there are different type of nurses. They're midwifery, there's not just a nurse, psychiatric nurses, and it goes on and on. So they have for some nurses. And in the Eastern Regional Authority, I do not think they have any psychiatric nurses. You will get those in Sentence Hospital that is a part of the Northwest Regional Health Authority. So Mr. Stewart, by reading and common sense, does not have the authority to negotiate for psychiatric nurse in Northwest Regional Health Authority, or for that matter, any other nurse in Northwest Regional Health Authority, because he has it for Eastern Regional Health Authority and certain nurses, right? So we put that there. I want to read this forward to show how it shows everything that they have been saying out the window. So the minister said that arrangement was since back in the day when like the first set of health workers came across in RHA, they offered them that. Now I'm reading here from a contract with the Northwest Regional Health Authority for a period of 2 years as a registered mental nurse. That contract is with from the effect data assumption, a duty, and it is for the period, just let me get it. Let me get it. Just let me get it. We wish to offer you employment on contract in the position of registered mental nurse with the Northwest Regional Health Authority for a period of 1 year with effect from 2024 January to the 18th to 2025 January the 17th. So just recently, the RHF offered contract to workers for that year. And they tell them the basic salary, nursing allowance, incentive, and all that, right? This is the part that is noteworthy. You will be eligible for an adjustment in your present compensation package when any subsequent agreement is signed between the CPO and PSA for public officers in respect of salaries and allowances. What did I just say that? A nursing personnel who got this contract last year from the Northwest Regional Health Authority that tells them how long is the contract for, all the salary, the incentive, everything it tells them how much sick leave and all that. And it goes on to say, in this same contract that was signed just last year to this year, that nursing personnel or whoever takes up that position will be eligible for an adjustment in the present compensation package when any subsequent agreement is signed between the CPO and PSA for public officers in respect of salaries and allowances. So I want to ask you something. What it is the PSA just signed with the CPO? Not an agreement, a memorandum of agreement in respect of salaries. So how you could tell me that the nurses at Sentence Hospital, I talk about Sentence Hospital, I don't know what other contract Eastern have, or Southwest, not Southwest, South and Central have. I'm talking about Northwest Regional Health Authority. In their contract, a nurse just last year, this year, they tell them any change in salary based on negotiation between the PSA, Public Service Association, and the CPO, Chief Personnel Officer, with respect to salaries and allowances, they will be entitled to it. So how the hell people could be going about and saying, and Mr. Clyde went ahead, who I just call the most unremarkable president of PSA, stating basically that these nurses and them, basically, that's my opinion, ain't entitled to nothing because PSA is not the legal RME, whatever. Yeah, they may not be, but the contracts that the RHA given them, the workers telling them in Northwest Regional Health Authority that, listen, whatever agreement PSA signed with the CPO, all you're getting it too. So if we get 10%, The sentenced nurses had to get 10% too. What is so hard for people to read and understand? I don't know what happening in Eastern Regional. I don't know what happening in the rest of the region. I seen a contract here for Northwest Regional Health Authority. And all regional health authorities had their own board and then just do their own thing. So in Northwest Regional Health Authority, because I always know that, whenever PSA get whatever for the public officers, that the RHA Northwest used to take pattern from that, and that's how them used to get the increases too. So the nurses and porters in Northwest Regional Health Authority, the nurses who are part of Northwest Regional Health Authority, I think Port au Prince in general is Northwest. St. James, yeah. I'm not too sure if Montauk fall into that. Them entitled to the 10% too. So why are they blaming them if they deciding they want the money? Again, I will say Felicia Thomas has caused all this bacchanal. Because sitting at the table there with the chief personal officer, she should have given him this contract or a contract to let him know if I'm settling for 10% for public officers. These nurses here, Regional Health Authority here, they are entitled to get it too. And if they get in a little something on the upfront for Christmas, then instruct Northwest Regional Health Authority to do the same for the nurses. And she cannot do that. She's going to avoid all this bacchanal. But Felicia Thomas doesn't have the institutional knowledge of the PSA or industrial relation or nothing. She must be just so happy to get that to sign, and all this is 10%, they go get money for Christmas, and she just signed. She like, she read nothing. Because that is the point, that is why Nixon Kalinda and former President John Baptiste Primers said there's not negotiation happening there. There's a political favor, basically. I ain't playing it my way. There's no negotiation. Because then to the Northwest Regional Health Authority, nurses would be getting something for Christmas too. Because this is what the contract says. All right, let me continue. I tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy. So somebody said, UNC is a plague, not me. I'll just play this and I'm moving on to something else.
Government has approved the use of local airports by United States military aircraft to conduct what it describes as logistical activities. It's a decision that has sparked strong criticism from the People's National Movement, which it claims cements the country's status as a satellite state of the United States.
Meanwhile, experts are divided on whether the government's announcement is a cause for concern. Aga Samro has more.
The major announcement came in the fourth paragraph of its media release. The Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Ministry confirming that a green light has been given for U.S. military aircraft to use this nation's airports in the coming weeks. The release went on to say that the U.S. advised this country that these movements are to facilitate supply replenishment and routine personnel rotations. Naturally, we had several questions for Minister Sean Sobers, such as how long has the government given this permission for? How many aircraft will be coming, and how many U.S. military personnel are in Trinidad and in Tobago? Minister Sobers responded to none of them. Those same questions were sent to Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who would only say that this is a routine cooperation between the U.S. military and our national security agencies. The PM did not respond directly to any of the other questions. Now, former Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Amory Brown called the media release deceptive and added that there is nothing normal about the latest arrangement with the U.S.
It simply takes Trinidad and Tobago a further step down the path of a satellite state which has dismissed CARICOM and international law and embraced a might is right philosophy.
International relations expert Dr. Anthony Gonzalez, meanwhile, said this is sending mixed signals. Dr. Gonzalez said on one hand, the Prime Minister says this country will not be used as a launching pad to attack Venezuela, but the government's activities indicate otherwise.
We have to think in terms of how the Venezuelans are looking at this. They are looking at this and they are saying, well, you know, American planes are landing here, they are refueling here and all of that, and they use radar in Tobago. And they're looking at that as you are supporting the Americans and you assisting the Americans to be able to attack.
But another IR expert, this time Professor Anthony Bryan, believes there's nothing to be concerned about here.
I don't think the Venezuelans would be worried about that. They know that the TNT is an ally of the United States. They keep a watchful eye, but that's nothing for them to get excited about.
And former National Security Minister Gary Griffith said a wonderful opportunity is presenting itself for this country to earn significant foreign exchange by supplying the American troops with what they need.
That's right. Today, Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett stressed that the Caribbean region must remain a zone of peace. Scarrett, whose country is a friend to both nations, said Dominica is prepared to act as an intermediary and called for dialogue and diplomacy to resolve the situation. The call comes amid a series of U.S. military strikes off the coast of Venezuela, part of what the Trump administration terms a war on illegal drugs. However, observers have suggested the increased military presence is aimed at regime change in Caracas. These strikes have been strongly condemned by the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, who stated the actions violate international human rights laws. Well, Prime Minister Scarrett warned that any breakout of conflict in the Caribbean Sea would have a negative impact on every country in the region.
I want to ask Mr. Gary with all due respect. Nothing wrong with this opportunity to make money, get them what they want. Well, Morris Street. When I get back popular again, more house go open, more hotel go open. Because what do you want? Them coming to think to eat and all kind of thing. What do you want? You think them coming to go and to buy food or doubles by the corner and all them kind of thing? What do you want? Pum pum? Guys, where you say we can make money, guys, go for just asking pum pum and bum bum. I just asking a question. What foreign exchange you talking about? Eh? So they be walking around the street looking for doubles to eat or bacon shark to eat? Eh? That is foreign exchange? And the next professor say it's nothing to be what are we smoking by? Nothing to be worried about. They know that we are island of America. Look, when you see that you're not living Trinidad, this one I want to talk all this shit. Live Trinidad. Well, let me continue. So this is something that Stuart Richard Young, SCMP, had put on the 13th of December. It says here, the UNC government has fired tens of thousands of our most vulnerable citizens who depended on employment in CPEP, URP, reforestation, HTC, and other contracted positions throughout the public service since coming into office. The same government instructed that ministries and state companies reduce expenditure and numerous companies, including those that actually make money via profits. Example, NGC and Heritage have cancelled NFA activities for staff. Yet there are some in the government who seems not to have received the memo, as they are having extravagant, vulgar, and expensive functions and parties, rubbing their contempt and disregard in the faces of those who at this time did not even know where the next meal will come from. I condemn these actions of the UNC government and the pain that they have intentionally and heartlessly inflicted on tens of thousands, and ask that we remember and do whatever we can to assist those who may be in need at this time. May God bless Trinidad and Tobago. In continued service, Stuart R. Young, SCMP, December the 13th, 2015. And there was a picture showing the different parties and whatever, right? And whatevers. So I see Mr. Dinesh Budan. I hope I have his whole thing here. It says, kind of ironic that on the same day yesterday, and I'll show you Barry just now, Barry was condemning Stuart for pointing out the government was calling for Christmas activities at state agencies to be cancelled, citing funding while some MPs continue to hold lavish parties. The UNC itself was having a lavish black tie Christmas party in Hoover. Naturally, government MPs all celebrated the PM as if she were the reigning queen of the season, which is the true meaning of Christmas in the UNC. Right? Now, MP Stuart Young said about the parties, and he would have shown pictures. Let me get it. Attached it would have been pictures. Excuse me. I want to look carefully at the pictures of Kamala Kasabi Sessa at the Local Market Center, enjoying the young brother singing. The staff having a good time. She hugging up young brother, whatever. And Barry and some next woman or something eating dollars and whatever, right? But what I read there, did you hear me or did you hear MP Young say anything about doubles or anything? He didn't. But you see, when things fall in your garden, when nobody a throw for you, but it fall in your garden and pick it up, it has gone a particular way. So Barry Padaro, who I just fondly call Prime Minister too, the one with the makeup slamming, and that somebody says a lace front he have on. I don't know much about it, but the lace front in place if it's a lace front. He needed to respond to Stuart Young. And it appears he was sitting in the toilet while he doing it. Which to me I find very disgusting in the first place, to be making a life to put out there as a minister if it's your toilet. But anyway, you listen to this.
Good day, Trinidad and Tobago. I took notice of a post by Member of Parliament for Port of Spain North, Mr. Stuart Young, where he posted photographs of myself and MP Shavana Sam eating doubles, describing it as having lavish and vulgar parties. I want to tell the member that the doubles that I was eating, I paid for it out of my own pocket for all 200 employees at the Ministry of Public Utilities. If I wanted to eat 5 or I wanted to eat 10 doubles, I pay for it with our taxpayers' money, and therefore I think I'm entitled to. The honourable member has a penchant for being abrasive and disgusting towards public servants. All we sought to do was utilize the resources that we already have in ministries and state enterprises, and therefore no money was paid to any artist to perform at the office of the Prime Minister or the Ministry of Public Utilities at their event. Instead, what we sought to do was to ask them, seeing that they were already brand ambassadors for TSCT, and they graciously agreed. And I want you to know that I'm very, very grateful, artists, for those free performances. But I'm also apologizing on the behalf of the member for Port of Spain North for bringing you into disrepute in this most disgusting and vile way. Because these artists were not hired at TSCT as brand ambassadors by myself. They were hired under People's National Movement Administration, and they have been there for a number of years. All we simply asked was whether or not they would perform for us without cost. And they
Enough of Barry. Because nowhere I saw MP Stuart Young disrespect no artist that had young brother having to come out to defend. Young brother, you didn't need to come out to defend nothing because nobody wasn't joining you. You is the ambassador, youth ambassador or cultural ambassador, whatever it is, TSCT. They would compensate you in whatever way they think, and wherever they feel fit to send you, and all that is your job. You don't have to try to justify anything. You as an ambassador, you work hard, my brother, young youth. We get our support from SILAT, showing them SILAT is not what they think it is, it's more than that. Go your brother. The member of parliament never mentioned you. There was no talk about you. He was speaking about the fact that you, the Prime Minister, would have said they're cutting back on all these things, and all different ministries were cut back, but them alone had their own thing. He was referring to those kind of things. Nothing to do with you, sir. So don't get yourself involved in that. No study Barry and them and that kind of conversation. And I want to tell Mr. Pararat, don't use words if you can't pronounce them properly to sound as though you're so eloquent in speech. Nothing wrong in a little green for you see, when you put on the voice and a song falls, and you have you talking to her, it is unnecessary to make a point. And what history does Stuart Young have been vulgar and shameless what? Because on a hot mic, he saw going and Zami. Now, if it a steak woman, we know since we growing up, woman and woman does rub and Zami. That's what we used to say, that's the sexual act, that's what we used to call it. What is vulgar about that? Say if a woman and a next woman, them sexual practice in the layman to me that say they're going and Zami. What are they going? I just talking, not the parliament, I'm talking in general. You see Mary and John going, so two of them say, what are they going? Are they going and Zami or what? That is disrespectful. That is vulgar. Really? So if you had said, where you're going, you are going to have sexual intercourse. That would have been very whatever. So as I say again on the hot mic, it was heard. Children's only going and Zami. How did that become so vile and disgusting? But the Attorney General say go and take your man or your little boy, whoever it is. That's disgusting. We're going to take a little boy or a little man to do. If he was talking to the next man. That is vulgar and disgusting. But like when things throw in all the garden and it fall and it touch all you just get harassed. If it's a woman in the event, who like woman, that them sexual preference and the business, them is adults. Don't bring all the thing in the public space as politicians. We're not interested in who let us bull, who let us Zami, we're not interested. If whether you like man and he's a man, or whether you like woman and he's a, we're not interested in that. He's a politician where to do the work in a community for your constituency as MP. We're not interested in whether doing a bedroom. Left we out of that, right? So you're talking and the word is spelled P-E-N-C-H-A-N-T. It is not how you pronounce it, so it's pronounced penchant. So if I don't know how to use the words like me sometimes, either practice it, don't use it, but don't sound foolish. Yeah? Okay. So after he said all of that, I don't know if it's in the toilet, this wrong twist up, so I don't know if it was hard to come out or it wasn't coming out. I don't know if it's the toilet. I just saying it just look kind of whatever. You know, just like a few minutes later, only look at this.
So you're all going to sing together, okay? We're all queen, okay? You going to sing it? She's royal, yeah, so royal, yeah. And I wonder in my life, I never knew anyone.
Right? That is them at UNC Black Tie Affair. If you see when they're walking in, people with masks on their face and thing, like it's a banquet and all that, and all the speech, and everybody in black tie, she coming in this yellow gown, looking like some curry, sprinkled there. And they auction off a picture when she was 17 years old to some little boy, $200,000. It is alleged she father some contractor or some kind of thing, the sell picture show kind of thing. So that is the goal, we see that. Perfect candidates, in my opinion, for Kool-Aid. You see what happened up in Guyana with Jim Jones, God forbid, rest those souls of those persons who really believed that this man was genuine. To me, the events, it does look like a cult, my opinion. That kind of behavior. Up comes now, so the mayor, the honorable mayor of Arima, Balira Maharaj, went to the event. And people must ask about it. Now, if you went to the event, Mayor Balaram, what's wrong in that? On it. Hear what he said. Let's stop the hate politics, because people asked if he was in the thing. What is hateful in act? So if it was in Hezbollah, I was there. You had to come to tell us. And my condolences, and you losing a wife. I know how that would be after years living together. Lord, say love on you be lonely. He had to come to tell me, since his wife died, he lonely, he'd be lonely. And he attend as a guest of his nephew. Right? Nothing wrong in that. And went on to say something like, yeah, he live in a big house by himself, and he's the nephew's the only one that's carrying him out. In fact, anywhere he goes, he does take me. I have a house in Tobago, he does take me there. He's like a son to me. He looks after me wherever I go. And he said he only realized it was a UNC event after arriving, but was impressed by the function, commended the organizer, and commended the organizer. I just asked you a question. You lost me there, Mayor Baliram, when you started to talk about, because people ask you, hey, what are you doing there? It's politics and hate. They're not politics and hate, and then you go in all the justification. We didn't want to know you're living by yourself, you have a big house in Tobago, you never. That is all the biz. Why don't you over talk? So just say, yes, I was there, my nephew carried me. Talk done, but you making it seem like it's something, and you have to talk, but you feel like going back up again because Dr. Rowley they tell you actually go up as mayor, and they tell him only 2 years. And listen, don't protest too much. You go the blast thing, you go the thing. What's wrong in that? But you making all this kind of excuse now, making it say, like it have more emotion than the person. Will you tell me all the business for? You live by yourself in the house, your big house, you're lonely. You have a house in Tobago, the nephew does carry it there. He's the only one that's carry it out. He like a son thing. What you telling me all them thing for? It's like Barry who's saying, no, it look like he toilet. Too much information and a passion. It's not passion. Hey! So let me end with this, Papa. I'm not able these people. No? I'm recommending this for a lot of people. Some of them in the UNCs. ALTA. The history of ALTA is the Adult Literacy Tutors Association. The history of it in Trinidad and Tobago, it began in 1992, founded by Paula Lucy Smith to address significant adult illiteracy through free volunteer-led classes evolving from small beginnings into a national NGO providing structured literacy programs, training tutors, and creating local material to empower adults and bridge educational gaps, becoming a vital force of national development. That is some of the history. Genesis and early years, 1990, 1992. Inspiration again, Paula Lucy Smith, a former teacher. She volunteered in 1990 in the Ministry of Education, UNESCO Literary Program, realizing the unmet needs for adult reading and writing help. She founded ALTA in 1992 as a non-profit to bring tutors and students together, offering a structured way to teach adults using methods from the Dyslexia Association of Trinidad and Tobago. What started small grew into a national movement, offering free classes in accessible venues like schools, churches, and libraries across Trinidad and Tobago, reaching thousands. ALTA trained hundreds of volunteer tutors, creating a network to provide support, and even expanded its training approach to other Caribbean islands like Grenada. The organization developed its own reading material relevant to Trinidadian life, grounded in the science of reading. Survey revealed high functional literacy, around 22 to 23% in TNT, hindering basic life activities for many adults. ALTA provided a safe, stigma-free environment for adults 16 plus, so it has certain people in the UNC could benefit from that, to learn, helping them gain independence and opportunities, with students paying only a small fee for books. And they have a digital leap now, so ALTA adapted with online platforms like ALTA/V to reach learners with internet access, bridging the digital divide. And today, ALTA continues as a critical or crucial national resource, linking literacy to national development, employability, and social equity, supported by volunteers, partners, and corporate sponsors. I think that a lot of people who are having challenges, I don't think I may quite meet the criteria, because I could still read and write, and think. Sometimes the little words does give me a little trouble, me ashamed to say so. Sometimes my tongue, because I have a list that sometimes the words does, you know, that does go, well, yeah, shame on us, me, you know, government minister, me, no public speaker, me, no motivational speaker, and all that kind of thing. Me, no politician, member of parliament, all that. But you see, when in those public spaces, those careers, learn to read and write properly and learn how to pronounce, and even if you want to speak proper. For instance, I would say, MP Barry put that. When you're making your videos, it is advisable that you do it in a more accommodating space where people are not in two minds whether or not it is your laboratory or it is an outdoor porch or your veranda or somewhere in your yard. You know, be a little more, have a little more class, have a little more have a little more, you know, statesman-like behavior. Yeah? Don't be what you're not, because it will come true. Now, if I talk like that for 3-4 hours, all my back feeling stiff. I want to use my word loose. I looser than loosey. So my point I'm making is this: don't use words if you know how to pronounce it, right? Okay. If you can't pronounce it, spell it like how I just spell it. So people, we were warned about this government, what they will do when they get in office. And we didn't imagine the things that they're now doing with regards to this situation that they have all of we jumpy in, with this whole military side of it, that have everybody jumpy. We didn't think they could have go this far or sing this low. But we are here. They said yellow was the code, now people are saying it's a curse. They say when UNC, when everybody win, we are seeing now that only certain people win. Not everybody. 10,500 CPEP workers surely didn't win. Neither did URP workers, CPEP, reforestation workers, HDC workers, and so many more. Them didn't win. And right now, Trinidad and Tobago is not winning. We're all over the world. They're looking at this small twin island state with a kind of poor mouth and a kind of cross eye. I don't think we're winning at all. We're not against anybody trying to keep these waters safe from drugs and human trafficking, and we'll be foolish to be upset about something like that, because we do have a history with crime in Trinidad and Tobago. So we will happy for any help and training and all that. But that what we see going on there, that is above plenty of we pay grade. That is real high grade thing that we ought not to get ourselves so involved in. We were supposed to stay neutral. So on Saturday, MP Stuart Young had his Christmas party, annual Christmas party. Of course, I was there, so I'll show you some sights from it. And also, MP Keith Scotland would have taken, I think, about 300 plus children, if I'm not mistaken, from his constituency down to down there now, Westmore, along there, where those cinemas are, Movie Town. Yeah, Movie Town, I think it was. So I'm sure a lot of them, first time they may have gone there to experience that. I see they had only goggles and things. And I'm sure it was fun for them and their friends and them and that kind of thing. So thank you, MP Scotland, for giving those children that probably first time experience. Also, MP Dominic Romaine also had his children Christmas party in the constituency. So thank you to MP Romaine for showing up and putting up for the children of your constituency. So let me just play you quickly what it is MP Stuart Young wants us about.
Based on further investigations, Young also claimed that the UNC's plan includes selling state assets. He emphasized that these assets are critical to the government's ability to provide employment for citizens.
National Gas, NLCB, National Quarries, NP, MTS, Caribbean Airlines, NEDCO, TTT, T&Tech, WASA, E-Tech, Lake Asphalt, the port. Those are the UNC's plans. And watch and see how they try to distance themselves Trinidad and Tobago, you are being cautioned and advised. If you take God out of your thoughts and you decide not to go and vote, and you decide not to vote for red, ready, and responsible PNM government, that, in addition to a devaluation of 15-1, in addition to the IMF reaching here within a year, will be what we will have to deal with.
And I just want to say before I go, and a lot of people will not be pleased. That's quite okay with me. See, that's wrong. We don't have time for no pitter-patter bake a cake. This is a serious thing. You see the opposition, not the opposition leader. Yes, opposition leader, because I'm not interested in the political leader, the PNM. That is a party thing. All they go deal out state. Me ain't interested in that. You see the opposition leader, Trinidad and Tobago, not PNM people, but all the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, all them children, them young ones, them old ones, the elders, everybody, you have a responsibility to them, the opposition leader. He is a failure. This very frightening situation has happened yesterday. Up to today, you can hear nothing from you. If it wasn't for Amy Brown, Dr. Amy Brown talking out, or sometime I'm having Gonzalez, or no one I'm hurt, or Stuart Richard Young, PNM going to be silent. You're late in everything, and when you do answers and look lackluster, boring, long, drawn out response. But people in the PNM, they're happy with that and vexed when they're talking about it. PNM is a strong party. This opposition leader is actually weakening this party. Yes, all the talk about black party, okay, however, that make no blasted sense neither. But good God, all they talk about black party, what the black woman to make the party strong? All they want black party. But what the black woman to make the party strong? This black party all they talking about. Dr. Equilem never make no black party. Yes, a lot of the supporters, yes, of African descent. But it wasn't a black party in terms of administration and all that. Anybody wants, you love country, whether race, class, creed, whatever, you could be a party of the PNM. I have shown that from inception to now. But all of a sudden, all over black party, where the black woman to stand up strong for the black people in Trinidad and Tobago. If it's black party, all you want. She ain't standing up for black people. She ain't standing for Trinidad and Tobago. Up to now, I can't hear nothing. But all want to tell me bullshit. But oh, we ain't getting a chance. What chance is this not a raffle? You sign up for the job. You're proud to be the first woman political leader and opposition leader. Okay. You got your titles, Miss Lady. You have your crown on your head. What next? Silence. Crickets. I want to tell me a sort of bullshit. All the supporters and the opposition leader, all want to tell me a sort of bullshit. Means saying not to support all the opposition leader and political leader. I'm not interested in a political leader. But what about this country? What about the fight back? Nothing. What hope are they giving to young people? What hope is it this PNM now giving to young people? You ain't seen the leader at all. And when other people talk out, all they want to censor them now to tell them don't make video, don't make this. All they feel they know them thing is true talk or what? No amount of putting out all kind of statement about that ain't true. It's true. It's true. All they want nobody else put out nothing, but all them putting out nothing. So what the hell all they want? All I want to talk about I in bed with the UNC, like it's all in bed with the UNC to make sure the PNM ever come back in office asking that question. Don't study me, as one person. All I want to talk about people who stand up and talk the truth about the opposition leader or they join them with UNC. We're not joining with the UNC. We're talking truth because they can't talk to she. She head up in the clouds. She feels she ordained. All is a ball who feel ordained by God. She feels she ordained by God. And she's the one. But what you doing? What you doing, Miss Lady? I don't dislike you because I don't know you like that. But you're the opposition leader at Trinidad and Tobago. I tell you, I'm not interested in you and no political leader and the PNM. That's all the business, that party business and Central X and who not X and Next and just, that is all the business. I ain't interested in that. I took money opposition leader at Trinidad and Tobago. And Miss Lady, you're lacking. Go and be weak in the PNM. In order general council, go be weak there. When you come to represent Trinidad and Tobago, you have to come with something and you are nothing. I say so. Tell her I say so. Because we're dependent on our opposition leader in this country to give us some kind of hope. To know that all is not lost. And right now we're watching things like every blasted thing lost. Who vexed that? Look now. Well, lucky I don't really cuss bad with one thing on my show. I wouldn't degenerate to that type of behavior. I was similar to us and this and that. But I wouldn't degenerate to that. So let's sit down there and let's celebrate, like all this celebrating Kamala, or let's celebrate the opposition leader. And see where PNM going. Right now, people turn off. People bored. People bored. You're going up. I will say this last before I go because it's me saying so. Nobody will tell me what to say. You're going up in Tobago, nothing wrong with that. As a political leader, you have a right to go up there. We're going on the stage for it. It has nothing to do with you. Sit down in front like over London and them. Say hi, good night, whatever, and sit down there. You're going up on stage. You're coming late. People have to stand up and all them kind of, it's not about you. It's about Tobago first. List the people and them, let them do the thing. You go there, sit down there like everybody else. You're up on the stage. What you up there doing? And then go and give a long, after people getting the vibes and all the PNM song with them modify and thing. And I what are they dancing to? In my head, I say, look, action boy. But you come on a long was everything for an hour. So people living there now in the mind must be choopsing. We're doing them thing for, and every minute that's about the first. When you want to be telling people that every minute so far, we don't know it. Or God put it in the blasted forehead now, or make a jersey with it on it. Every time you get on a stage, you have to tell people you're the first female political leader in the PNM. And oh God, we know it. Miss Lady, give me a break, ease me up now, man. You can't be serious. You really can't be serious. And I don't give a shit who want to make you don't cuss me after because I will say the same thing again. I will say the same thing again. I'm not talking about what's in the mouth because a blasted getting fed up on the stupidness now, boy. Look what we country reach. Look at the bacchanal win. You ain't get nothing. People frightened. People worried. People anxious. You ain't seen nothing. But you want to lead. You want position. You get the position and what next? What the voice? Thank God that's how them who coming out as I mentioned the kids Scotland or Dr. Brown or Farrell, not Farrell, so Marvin. Am I member of parliament or Alberta? Otherwise nothing. Silence. But you're the leader and you want to lead. You're the leader. What example you setting for them young members of parliament? With this weakness that you have. I tell you, I don't give a shit who vexes me, There's a serious blasted times here, And when I talk to you, your head so high up. You know business. You so feel you have all the support. I see one of them who was supporting Stuart all the time. Putting, oh, the ground is so penny. Well, it was lie to people, so and lie to all themselves and all their lying must be lying to the woman too. It's only too much making the woman feel she have all the support. Always go along to get along. Or hoping to get a contract. Or they want somebody weak there that's all they can manipulate. Because they can't be serious. And if she feel like because of we, how the hell is it because of we, she fail? I don't understand that foolishness. I just write she speech for she. I just dress she. I don't tell she what to say. Look, give me a blast. The chance. So as I say again, this weekend had children Christmas parties. MP Dominic remain up in Mausika, Malabar, Mausika, I think it is, with his Christmas party for the children and his whole constituency staff. So the work that they would have done, thank them. The children, I'm sure, was very happy and excited. We have, as I say again, Member of Parliament for Port-au-Prince South, I think it is, Keith Scotland SC, currently showing out a movie to about 350 or something. So, sure that they love it, love it. That is memories that children keep for a lifetime. And then my Member of Parliament Saturday at Belmont Community Centre, children's Christmas party. And also Sunday, it's first time I think it was the lighting up of the tree in the park, the newly refurbished park, first time official opening. Father, I can't remember his name, the priest was there, and we had one of the Member of Parliament's favorite steel band, St. Margaret Boys. They were there and they serenaded us. So we had a guy on the saxophone. And when I was leaving, because I did back-to-back Saturday and Sunday, there was other entertainment going on. So thank you, MP Stuart Young, for always giving back to your community. You said that your constituency, you said you will fight for us. I believe you. And you would fight for Trinidad and Tobago. I too believe you with that. So take a little sight of the Christmas party, and then I will come back and we'll wrap up.
So we're here for the St. North St. Anne's West annual Children's Christmas Party. By God's grace and God willing, we were able to put this on again, our 11th year doing this. And I hope to continue doing this for our children. Thank you all for your support during 2025. Let's get ready for 2026. Our children enjoy it. have a safe and enjoyable Christmas. Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody.
We also had the Member of Parliament for Ruka Lopino having parang up in our hood. The parang sell out. If you see people, like they had a regular time, so we had parang happening up there in that constituency also. People have a blessed night. Love you all those who are locked on, tune in to We Talk the Ting Unfiltered. All my peeps, I need to go and take a little. I don't drink, I don't smoke neither, so I go and watch my movie. I love you all. See you all on Friday. Gospel when I come with something for something. You just say girl Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. If you want to get phone mission for Frederick. And I love you all for always coming and stay with me, right? All my peeps from on Facebook, the whole crew, and those who are on Bounce Up Central. And thanks to Director for giving me the space to do what I do. See you all on Friday Gospel. I'm going. Director, you put on the thing, was she? Oh, madam. When you see that she gone and she fresh or some kind of thing. Where the outro? I gone. Hey. You come up, let me take you off the wait, I play this music, you come up. I mean, want to talk, come off the damn stage. Play the music. What kind of drama is this?
Fellas, I think this one is my favorite day now. Hear this now. Vibes. Check out this one, I feel lazy one, but this one have a serious vibes, father. Nah, boy, I think this one is the hardest one, boy.
Oh God, the treasury could ponder.